Escúchanos en cualquier momento y en cualquier lugar. Descarga la app de Vaughan Radio.
You are listening to Everyday.
Listen to Vaughan Radio.
You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
Tune in every day.
Vaughan Radio.
Speaking with Confidence with Ale.
Good morning and welcome back to Speaking with Confidence here on Vaughan Radio. I'm Alejandra and this is our hour to practice English. And how do we do that? We build the language little by little. We start with a bit about life. We learn the words we need. We look at the grammar that helps us speak more clearly. And then we practice until it feels natural. Today we are going to review conditionals. We have seen conditionals before, so today we're not going to treat them as something completely new, but we are going to look at them from a different angle. Because conditionals are not just grammar, they are a way to talk about life, so we're going to give it a reflective angle. Alright, they help us talk about what usually happens. For example, if I'm tired, I lose patience. If I feel nervous, I speak too fast. If I don't understand something, I stay quiet. And they also help us talk about what may happen next, lo que puede pasar después, lo que podría pasar después. If I feel ready, I will send the message. If the conversation goes well, I will feel more relaxed. See? And they also help us talk about an imagined change. If I were more confident, I would speak more. If I had more time, I would slow down. All right, so today's lesson is a grammar review, yes, but it's also a little reflection because sometimes English gives us the words to say things we already feel. What usually happens to me, what may happen next, what would I change if things were different, and that's where conditionals become useful. All right, simple grammar, but real life. So let's begin our conversation today. And as usual, we are going to build the language around today's idea before we jump into the grammar review. We're going to learn words connected to reactions, habits, small changes, and personal reflection. Some of these words you might already know, but in case you don't, this is a good chance to learn these words. So, number one word, the first word today is pause. Pause. And this is a noun, but it can also be a verb. And as a noun is a countable noun. And what does it mean? It's a short stop before continuing. A short stop before continuing. In Spanish, una pausa. And as a verb, hacer una pausa. O pausar también. How can we use it? A short pause can make a difficult answer sound calmer. A short pause can make a difficult answer sound calmer. Very good. Next word is reaction. And this word, we've seen it many, many times before. Reaction. It is a noun and it is a countable noun. What is that? What does it mean? It's what you do or what you say or feel because of something. That's a reaction. What you do, what you say, or also how you feel because of something. In Spanish, reacción. His reaction surprised everyone because he stayed very quiet. His reaction surprised everyone because he stayed very quiet. Very good. Next word today is tendency. Tendency, and this is also a noun. And a tendency is something you often do naturally or repeatedly. Something that you do naturally or repeatedly. In Spanish, tendencia. Lucia has a tendency to apologize even when she has done nothing wrong. Lucia has a tendency to apologize even when she has done nothing wrong. All right. Next word is comfort zone. This is a noun phrase, comfort zone. And a comfort zone is a situation where you feel safe. That's what a comfort zone is, a situation where you feel safe. And this in Spanish, zona de confort, right? And how do we use it? Well, joining a conversation in English pushed Pablo outside his comfort zone. Joining a conversation in English pushed Pablo outside his comfort zone. All right. So why does this situation feel safe? Because it's familiar, because you know it, and because you know it, you feel very comfortable, very safe. All right. And most of the time we don't want to move from that comfort zone, from that comfort zone. All right. Next word is turning point. Turning point. And this is also a noun phrase. All right. Turning and point. And what does this mean? It's a moment when something begins to change. A moment when something begins to change. In Spanish, el punto de inflexión. I like this word. Punto de inflexión. I like it in Spanish and in English. Turning point. The short trip became a turning point in her confidence. The short trip became a turning point in her confidence. All right. Very good. Next word is hesitate. Do you remember this word? Hesitate. And this is a verb. And what is to hesitate? Is to stop for a moment because you are not sure. It's a different kind of pause. This pause is because you are not sure. So you stop for a moment because you are not sure. So this in Spanish is dudar, or we also said vacilar. All right. Many students hesitate before speaking, even with the right words in their head. Many students hesitate before speaking, even with the right words in their head. Okay, next word is wonder. And wonder is a verb. And to wonder, let me spell that for you. W-O-N-D-E-R. And to wonder is to think about something because you're curious, or also because you're unsure, but mainly because you're curious. And this in Spanish is preguntarse. To think about something because you are curious. You want to know the answer to something. And how do we use it? On quiet Sundays, I sometimes wonder about the person I am becoming. Well, that's very deep. On quiet Sundays, I sometimes wonder about the person I am becoming. Okay, all right, next word, and this is a phrasal verb, is let go. Let go. And to let go is to stop holding on to something emotionally. To stop holding on to something emotionally. We know this word as well, right? This in Spanish is dejar ir o soltar. She wants to let go of the idea that every answer must be perfect. She wants to let go of the idea that every answer must be perfect. Is there something you have to let go? What do you say? Can you think about that? Is there something, I wonder, another useful word, if there is something that you have to let go of? Can you answer that question? All right, let me go through the words one more time and then you tell me the translation in English. So the first word was pause, reaction, tendency, comfort zone, turning point, hesitate, wonder, and let go. So now here we go with the Spanish, and you tell me the words in English. Preguntarse, wonder, to wonder, very good. Punto de inflexión, turning point, soltar o dejar ir, let go, dudar o vacilar, hesitate. And let's see, zona de confort, comfort zone, very good. Reacción, reaction, excellent. Tendencia, tendency. Y la última, pausa, hacer una pausa, pause. Very good. All right, very good. So now that we got those words, our 8 words for today, let's practice a little before we move into the grammar. So as always, let's begin with guessing the word. So you have to listen to the definition and say the word that matches that definition. First one. This is, let's see, to think about a question or possibility in your mind. To think about a question or possibility in your mind. What is this? This is to wonder. What about to wait for a moment because you're not sure? To wait for a moment because you're not sure. This is to hesitate. Very good. The familiar place or situation where you feel safe. The familiar place or situation where you feel safe. And that is comfort zone. Very good. What you feel, say, or do after something happens. What you do, what you feel, and what you say after something happens. That is a reaction. And finally, a moment when you stop briefly before you continue. A moment when you stop briefly before you continue. And this word is pause. Very good, a pause. All right, am I missing something? Yes. To stop carrying an emotion, an idea, or pressure. To stop carrying an emotion, idea, or pressure. And this is let go. Very good. Let go. Okay, we're going to move on to our next challenge. And what you do here is you choose the best word in context. Listen up. Before answering the difficult email, Marina took a small And you have three options here: pause, mirror, or ticket. I'll say that again. Before answering the difficult email, Marina took a small pause, mirror, or ticket. And the answer is pause. Very good. Before answering the difficult email, Marina took a small pause. How about this one? I often, before speaking in a meeting, because I want to choose the right words. Let's say that again. I often, before speaking in a meeting, because I want to choose the right words. Your options are decorate, hesitate, or collect. All verbs. And the right answer is I often hesitate before speaking in a meeting because I want to choose the right words. All right. Next one. His first was anger, but later he understood the situation better. I'll say that one more time. His first was anger, but later he understood the situation better. So is it reaction? Is it hesitate? Or is it pause? If his first was anger, then the right answer is reaction. His first reaction was anger, but later he understood the situation better. All right, let's move on to the next one. Not this one. Moving to a new city took her out of her. Moving to a new city took her out of her. And you've got comfort zone, wonder, or train platform. All right. What do you think it is? Moving to a new city took her out of her comfort zone. All right. Next one. I sometimes, what my life would be like with a slower routine. I sometimes, what my life would be like with a slower routine. So is it borrow? Is it repair? Or is it wonder? Let's try. I sometimes wonder what my life would be like with a slower routine. And that is the correct answer. All right, another one. That honest conversation was in their friendship. That honest conversation was in their friendship. Is this comfort zone? Is it turning point? Or is it traffic light? That one is not it, right? That's not the one. So let's see. That honest conversation was a turning point in their friendship. Un punto de inflexión. It was a turning point in their friendship. All right, very good. Okay, so let's move on to another kind of exercises. What we're going to do now is build sentences like we always do. What you have to do is put these words in the correct order to build a sentence. So, for example, if I say, before I, speaking sometimes, hesitate. Before I, speaking sometimes, and hesitate. What would the right order be? You can always write these words down, or if you had very good memory, you can solve this riddle. So, before I, speaking sometimes, hesitate. Are you ready? I sometimes hesitate before speaking. All right, so let's do another one. A pause helps short me think. I'll say those words again. A pause helps short me think. All right, I'll give you a second. 1, 2, 3. You ready? A short pause helps me think. All right, a short pause helps me think. Okay, let's do another one. Outside her, she, comfort zone, stepped. This one's easy. Outside her, she, comfort zone, stepped. So, what do you think it is? Did you write these words down? Well, let's see. She stepped outside her comfort zone. She stepped outside her comfort zone. Very good. Let's do a last one and listen to this. 2, pressure, let go, learning I'm off. I'll say that again. 2, pressure, let go, learning I'm off. You got it? So what is it? I'm learning to let go of pressure. I'm learning to let go of pressure. All right, very good. Okay. Now, let me ask you a few questions and you answer the best way you can. All right, I'll give you my answer and you give me yours. What makes you hesitate in English? What makes you hesitate in English? One possible answer that I can imagine is, I hesitate when I need to speak quickly. I hesitate when I need to speak quickly. And you, what is your answer? What was your answer? How about another question? What is something you would like to let go of? Remember I asked you this before? What is something you would like to let go of? One possible answer would be, some people might say, I would like to let go of perfectionism. Some people might say this, right? I would like to let go of perfectionism. In my case, I would like to let go of, let me think, procrastination maybe. I would like to let go of procrastination. I'm sure some of you can maybe identify themselves with this. All right, another question. What can be a turning point in someone's confidence? What can be a turning point in someone's confidence? When we talk about in English, maybe one good conversation can be a turning point. One good conversation in English can be a turning point, right? Yes. All right. And a last question for you is, what happens when you step outside your comfort zone? What happens when you step outside your comfort zone? How do you feel? What do you think? What do you do? Can you describe all that? Possible answer. Let's begin with feelings. You can say, I feel nervous. Yes, but can you also think about the benefits of that? Maybe you can say, I also learned something. So I feel nervous, but I also learned something. Right? What's your answer? How do you feel? What do you do? What do you get from that, from stepping outside your comfort zone? This is an interesting question to answer. All right, so let me go over the words one more time before we go on a break. So remember, the words are pause, pausa, o hacer una pausa, reaction, una reacción, tendency, tendencia, comfort zone, zona de confort, turning point, punto de inflexión. Hesitate, dudar o vacilar. Wonder, preguntarse. Y finalmente, let go, soltar o dejar ir. All right, so now we're going to go on a break. All right, and when we come back, we're going to connect these words to our grammar review: zero conditional, first conditional, and second conditional. All right, we've gone through these words for today: pause, reaction, tendency, comfort zone. What else? Turning point, hesitate, wonder, and let go. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the break.
Lo que oyes.
You're listening to the right radio. You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
Estas vacaciones, haz un viaje para tu inglés. Con los cursos intensivos semanales de Vaughan, mejora tu inglés durante cualquier periodo vacacional. Navidad, Semana Santa, verano, tú decides cuándo. Una semana para mejorar tu fluidez. Gana confianza al hablar. Aprovecha tu tiempo libre al máximo. Y lo mejor es que puedes reservar tu curso desde ya para asegurarte tu plaza en el momento que prefieras. No dejes pasar la oportunidad de avanzar en tu inglés estas vacaciones. Entra en grupovaughan.com/intensivos y contrata tu semana intensiva hoy mismo, porque tu inglés también merece unas vacaciones.
Mommy, Daddy, these summer English books are so much fun.
¿Quieres que este verano tus hijos repasen inglés de forma divertida? Tenemos justo lo que necesitas. Llega Summer English. Listen, practice, learn. La nueva colección de cuadernos de Vaughan para niños de primero a sexto de primaria. Con juegos, gramática, vocabulario, audios y actividades online. Todo al más puro estilo Vaughan. Ya disponibles en vaughantienda.com y librerías seleccionadas. Este verano, aprender inglés será su plan favorito.
¿Quieres mejorar tu inglés sin complicaciones? Vaughan Inglés 4.0 es el curso de inglés más completo en formato audio, con casi 600 clases desde cero hasta nivel avanzado. Paso a paso, donde y cuando quieras. Claro, práctico y eficaz. Gramática, vocabulario, pronunciación y sobre todo, resultados. Busca nuestro podcast Vaughan Inglés 4.0 en iVoox.
Este verano, ¿quieres que tus hijos se diviertan, vivan 1000 aventuras y además ganen fluidez en inglés, rodeados de naturaleza y con los mejores monitores angloparlantes Vaughan? Tráelos a nuestro Vaughan Summer Camps, con cabañas, actividades acuáticas, multiaventura, nuevos amigos y entornos increíbles donde aprenderán a resolver situaciones cotidianas en inglés sin darse cuenta. Más de 3.000 niños viven nuestras inversiones cada año. Encuentra tu mejor Summer Camp sin salir de España. Contrata tu mejor camp.
Come to learn with us at Vaughan.
¿Te apuntas?
En Vaughan hay un antes y un después. El antes es inseguridad, titubeo, fastidio. El después es confianza, convicción y arrojo. Y esto en solo 6 días.
El mayor ambiente lingüístico jamás creado, con la mayor variedad de acentos nativos nunca antes reunidos. Vaughan Town, el pueblo anglo de Vaughan. Vaughan Town. Rechaza imitaciones. Infórmate en el 911335833.
Vaughan Town. Cambia tu inglés ya.
En
Encuentra todos los libros de nuestros presentadores de radio en las tiendas Vaughan. Nosotros te ayudamos a encontrar el libro perfecto para ti, para todos los niveles y edades. También encontrarás libros de alemán, francés y mucho más. Estamos en calle Orense 75, en Madrid, o en nuestras 6 delegaciones por España. Ven a vernos o visita vaughantienda.com. Vaughan, Learn English.
Escúchanos en cualquier momento y en cualquier lugar. Descarga la app de Vaughan Radio.
You are listening to
Everyday.
Listen to Vaughan Radio. You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
Tune in every day.
Vaughan Radio.
Speaking with confidence with Ale.
Welcome back to Speaking with Confidence. I'm Ale. And today we are reviewing conditionals. 0, first, and second conditionals. But before we go into the grammar, here's a small fact. You and me, human beings, everyone, we spend a lot of time imagining possible situations. Right? Am I right? I am. We imagine how a conversation may go. We imagine what someone may say. We imagine what we would do in a different life with different time, different confidence, or different circumstances. And that's just the way we are. Some more than others. But why do we do this? We do this because we are worried sometimes. Or sometimes we imagine because we are hopeful, and sometimes we imagine because a part of us is asking, could this be any different? Nuestra mente muchas veces ensaya posibilidades, múltiples veces. Pensamos, si hago esto, ¿qué pasará? O si me atrevo, ¿qué podría cambiar? Si las cosas fueran distintas, ¿cómo sería mi vida? And that's exactly why conditionals are useful, because they help us speak about 3 things. What normally happens, what may happen next, and what we imagine could be different. All right, so let's review these 3 things clearly and slowly. All right? Okay, so here we go. Point number 1 is 0 conditional. So the 0 conditional we use to talk about things that are generally true, or things that normally happen in the same situation. For example, if I skip breakfast, my concentration drops. Si no desayuno, mi concentración disminuye, right? What does this mean? It means that this is what normally happens to me. It's not one specific future plan. It's a repeated result. Es un resultado repetido o repetitivo. Okay, so things that are generally true, or things that normally happen. What's the structure? The structure is formed by 2 clauses, dos partes. So the first clause is if plus the present simple, and then the second clause is the present simple. So let's say that again. If someone interrupts me, first clause. Second clause, I lose my train of thought. All right? Let's say this one more time. If someone interrupts me, first clause, I lose my train of thought. Okay, so again, this is a normal reaction. Es similar al Si no desayuno, baja mi concentración. Es un hecho real, es un dato específico, innegable. Lo mismo la siguiente oración. Si alguien me interrumpe, pierdo el hilo de mis ideas. If someone interrupts me, I lose my train of thought. Pierdo el hilo de mis ideas. Okay? So that's how it is. If, the structure is if plus the simple present, first clause, second clause, present simple. All right? Super, super easy. So the zero conditional is useful for repeated patterns, patrones que se repiten. If I sleep badly, I feel more sensitive. If people explain slowly, I understand more. Or if people speak slowly, I understand more. If I write things down, I remember them better. So notice that the verbs in both clauses are in the present simple. Los verbos de las dos partes de esta estructura son en el presente simple. Okay? If I write is our verb and it's in the present simple, right? If I write things down, I remember, also present simple, them better. All right? So keep this in mind. Zero conditional equals to what normally happens, lo que normalmente ocurre, el zero conditional. All right? Okay, very good. Point number 2, first conditional. So we're moving from the zero to the first conditional. We use the first conditional to talk about a real future possibility. A real future possibility. Es decir, una posibilidad futura, pero real. For example, if I get a quiet hour tonight, I will plan the week. So what does this mean? It means that maybe I will get a quiet hour. Una hora en silencio. It is possible, right? It is possible. And if so, in that case, I will plan the week. Si sucede, voy a planificar para la semana. So, how is the structure formed? Again, two clauses, dos partes igualmente. La primera parte, if plus the present simple. Second part, second clause, auxiliary will, del futuro, will, plus a verb. And then the rest of the information. So if and present simple, will and verb. That's how it is. Okay, so let's try with another example. Listen to this. If the meeting feels tense, first clause, if the meeting feels, that's in the present simple, feels tense, second clause, I can ask for a short break. But notice here that we can use will, but we can also use can or an imperative. Okay? What we could say is, if the meeting feels tense, I will ask for a short break. All right? Another example. If the train arrives late, I will walk from the next stop. Again, if the train arrives late, si el tren llega tarde, arrives in the present simple, we will walk from the next stop. Caminaremos desde la siguiente parada. All right? Present simple in the first clause, and then auxiliary will in the second clause plus verb. All right? Let's do a last one. If I feel better after lunch, I will finish the report. If I feel better after lunch, I will finish the report. All right? After if, we normally use the present simple after if. Es decir, en la parte que lleva el if, la primera parte que lleva el if, el condicional, siempre va seguido de el presente simple. ¿Ok? No del futuro, no del auxiliar del futuro will. ¿Ok? So we say, if I see Clara, I will ask her. All right? If I see Clara, I will ask her. And of course, we can always contract that. I'll ask her. If I see Clara, I'll ask her. All right? So remember, first conditional equals to what may happen next. Lo que podría ocurrir después, en el futuro. Pero una posibilidad real, ¿ok? No fantasiosa como la que viene ahora. Point number 3, second conditional. So we're moving on from the first conditional to the second conditional. We use the second conditional to talk about imaginary situations or dreams. Pero también podemos utilizarlo para consejos, for advice, or things that are not real right now. Okay? How is it formed? So, first clause, always if. Okay? If plus the past simple, first clause. Second clause, aquí cambian un poco las cosas. Would, a modal verb, would, plus another verb, whichever verb you use. Okay? So, if, past simple, would, and verb. If, past simple, modal verb, would, and any other normal verb. All right? For example, if I trusted myself more, notice how the verb in the first clause is in the past. If I trusted myself more, I would speak before overthinking. Let's say that again. If I trusted myself more, I would speak before overthinking. So the question here is, do I trust myself more right now? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. So I am imagining a different version of the situation. That's why I'm using the second conditional. We're talking about an imaginary situation, a different version of the situation. We're just picturing it in our heads. We're daydreaming about it. So if I trusted myself more, I would speak before overthinking. Another example. If we had more patience, we would listen better. Very easy. Although this is not a plan for tomorrow, for the future, it is a reflection. It's a reflection. So it's also useful for that. Okay? Si confiara más en mí, hablaría antes de pensarlo demasiado. O, lo que acabamos de decir, si tuviéramos más paciencia, escucharíamos mejor. Que no son planes, pero son reflexiones que podemos hacer utilizando esta estructura. So, for advice, we often use this very useful expression. If I were you, I would, right? For example, if I were you, I would take the pressure off for one day. Remember that the structure remains the same if, simple past, and then the second clause, would plus a verb, right? In Spanish, yo que tú, o si yo fuera tú, me quitaría presión por un día. O en otras palabras, quizás más certeras, me relajaría por un día. All right. So, if I were you, I would wait a little. Ese es otro consejo. If I were you, si yo fuera tú, esperaría un poquito. Now, we can also contract the modal verb in the second clause. Remember? If I were you, I'd wait a little. If I were you, I'd ask again. Or, if I were you, I'd choose the simpler option. So, remember, the second conditional equals to what I imagine, what I would do, or what I would change. Okay? Let's compare all three. Zero conditional structure. If this happens. Okay? The verbs remain in simple present in both clauses. If this happens, then this happens. Okay? General truth or a normal reaction. Okay? If I drink too much coffee, I feel nervous or I don't sleep. Okay? First conditional. If this happens, this will happen. All right? This is a real future possibility. Sigue siendo una posibilidad, pero es una posibilidad real. If this happens, this will happen. Okay? If I drink coffee now, I will stay awake tonight. All right? And the second conditional, if this happened in the past, this would happen. Okay? Imaginary situation. If I didn't drink so much coffee, I would sleep better. Or I'd sleep better if we want to contract that. Okay? So one final practical point that I would like to go over, and that is the order of the clauses can change. Podemos cambiar el orden de estas dos partes de esta estructura. We can say, if I feel ready, I will speak first, que es la forma más frecuente y común. Or, I will speak first if I feel ready. Hemos dado la vuelta. Estas dos partes las hemos intercambiado. ¿Qué ha cambiado? No solamente el orden, sino que también ponemos una coma después de la primera estructura. O sea, en la primera estructura ponemos una coma después de la primera parte. If I feel ready, comma, I will speak first. Esta es la estructura, digamos, original más frecuente. La segunda no lleva coma en ningún sitio. La puntuación es distinta. I will speak first if I feel ready. Okay? So when the if part comes first, we usually use a comma. All right? And when the if part comes second, we usually don't use a comma. All right? Okay. Simple and useful. Now that we've got all of those conditionals ready, let's practice with them. All right? Let's put our grammar in action. So, let's begin with translations. Si me siento insegura, hago una pausa. Si me siento insegura, hago una pausa. Okay, if I feel insecure, I pause. If I feel insecure, I pause. Very good. Aquí tienes que acordarte de la puntuación. Llevamos siempre una coma después de la primera parte de la estructura, cuando esta está formada por el condicional primero. If I feel insecure, comma, I pause. Okay? Si mañana tengo energía, haré esa llamada. Si mañana tengo energía, haré esa llamada. If I have energy tomorrow, I will make that call. If I have energy tomorrow, I will make that call. Remember, you can always contract I'll make that call. Siguiente, si fuera más paciente conmigo misma, aprendería más rápido. Si fuera más paciente conmigo misma, aprendería más rápido. You ready? If I were more patient with myself, comma, I would learn faster. I'll say that again. If I were more patient with myself, I would learn faster. Y aquí algo que me olvidaba decirte es que cuando utilizamos el segundo condicional en primera persona, el verbo es were. If I were. No was, como quizás podríamos pensar, siendo que es el pasado del verb be. Pero en este caso utilizamos were, solamente esta excepción, ¿ok? If I were, instead of if I was more patient, if I were more patient with myself, I would learn faster. Let's do one last round. Si dudas, puedes pedir otra explicación. Si dudas, puedes pedir otra explicación. If you hesitate, use a word. If you hesitate, comita, comma, you can ask for another explanation. If you hesitate, you can ask for another explanation. What conditional is that? Zero conditional. Why? Because both verbs are in the present simple. If you hesitate, you can ask for another explanation. Siguiente, si tuviera otra oportunidad, diría la verdad con calma. Si tuviera otra oportunidad, diría la verdad con calma. Ready? If I had another chance, I would tell the truth calmly. If I had another chance, I would tell the truth calmly. All right. Very good. And the last one, si esta conversación se vuelve difícil, nos tomaremos un momento. Si esta conversación se vuelve difícil, nos tomaremos un momento. If this conversation becomes difficult, we will take a moment. If this conversation becomes difficult, comma, we will take a moment, or will take a moment. ¿Qué condicional es este? El primero. Why? Present simple in the if clause, and then future, auxiliary future will plus the verb, right? So, if this conversation becomes difficult, we'll take a moment. All right, very good. Okay, that was good warm-up. Now we're going to begin with the second challenge that, in this case, what you have to do is listen and decide zero, first, or second conditional. All you have to do is choose the right one. Tell me which one I'm using in the sentence. Listen. If the room is silent, I hear every small sound. If the room is silent, I hear every small sound. What conditional is this? Which one? Which conditional is it? Zero, first, or second? Listen to the tense of the verbs. I think that's the key. If the room is silent, I hear every small sound. Zero conditional, both in the present simple. Y además es un hecho la información que nos brinda esta oración. If the room is silent, I hear every small sound. Es un hecho, es un dato real. All right, another one. If Isabel calls after lunch, I'll answer from home. If Isabel calls after lunch, I'll answer from home. So which conditional is this? Listen to the tense of the verbs. If Isabel calls after lunch, I will answer from home. So that makes it the first conditional, right? The first conditional, a real possibility. If she calls, then it is possible that I'll answer from home. Okay. Next, if they understood the problem, they would act differently. If they understood the problem, they would act differently. So, this is the second conditional. Why? Because the first verb in the first clause is in the simple past. If they understood. And the second part is a modal verb and act. They would act differently. And that makes it a second conditional. All right. I think that is it for today. We reviewed 3 conditionals from a more reflective angle. The zero conditional, we use it for normal reactions and repeated patterns. All right. The first conditional, we use it for real future possibilities. And the second conditional, we use it for imaginary situations, advice, dreams, and also reflection. All right. So that is it for today. After this show, stay tuned because the lunchtime show is coming up on Vaughan Radio. Keep practicing and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Estás escuchando Vaughan Radio.
¿Tus hijos necesitan dar un salto de inglés este verano? ¿Tienen planes en el extranjero o simplemente quieren ganar confianza? Apúntales a nuestras clases particulares one-to-one. Con nuestras clases one-to-one ganarán confianza en inglés para alcanzar nuevas oportunidades. El inglés abre puertas y con Vaughan aprenderán inglés para vivir sus sueños. No esperes más y entra en grupovaughan.com e infórmate.
Mommy, Daddy, these summer English books are so much fun.
¿Quieres que este verano tus hijos repasen inglés de forma divertida? Tenemos justo lo que necesitas. Llega Summer English. Listen, practice, learn. La nueva colección de cuadernos de Vaughan para niños de primero a sexto de primaria. Con juegos, gramática, vocabulario, audios y actividades online. Todo al más puro estilo Vaughan. Ya disponibles en vaughantienda.com y librerías seleccionadas. Este verano, aprender inglés será su plan favorito.
¿Buscas el impulso definitivo para tu inglés profesional? Con Master Plus de Vaughan lo tienes todo. 5 meses de clases intensivas en grupo con el Executive Master, más 5 meses adicionales de clases individuales one-to-one online, donde tú eliges el horario, el ritmo y el enfoque, gramática, conversación o lo que necesites. Master Plus es flexibilidad real para alcanzar fluidez profesional. Descúbrelo en grupovaughan.com/master.
¿Quieres aprender inglés a tu propio ritmo y según tu horario? En Vaughan tenemos la solución perfecta para ti. Con las clases particulares online de Vaughan, disfrutarás de la máxima flexibilidad en tu aprendizaje del inglés. Tú eliges. ¿Prefieres centrarte en la conversación o en la gramática? No hay ningún problema. Con Vaughan puedes seleccionar la modalidad que más te convenga. Y no solo eso, sino que también tienes completa libertad para elegir el día, la hora y la duración de tus clases. ¿Solo tienes 25 minutos? Perfecto. En Vaughan nos adaptamos a ti. Visita grupovaughan.com hoy mismo y descubre cómo nuestras clases particulares pueden transformar tu forma de aprender inglés. Flexibilidad y calidad en la enseñanza del inglés a tu medida.
Este verano, ¿quieres que tus hijos se diviertan, vivan 1000 aventuras y además ganen fluidez en inglés, rodeados de naturaleza y con los mejores monitores angloparlantes Vaughan? Tráelos a nuestro Vaughan Summer Camps. Hay 4 ubicaciones diferentes para que elijas tu mejor opción. Con cabañas, actividades acuáticas, multiaventura, nuevos amigos y entornos increíbles donde aprenderán a resolver situaciones cotidianas en inglés